This is the newsroom for today, Thursday, November 6th, 2025. We are broadcasting to you on E1 SKAR TV NTN and TARZEE TV in Bartica. In the headlines, a heated argument turns deadly in Sophia as a woman allegedly stabs her reputed husband and disappears.
I talked to her, she said, girl, go and leave this by, girl, go and leave this by, girl, go. She wouldn't go and leave feet.
GRA abruptly drops a high-profile tax case against the Mohamed family, but U.S. charges still loom. After a week-long pause, the East Bank and East Coast third lane is back, but under stricter police control. Kristoff De Nobrega walks free after the High Court rules there was no case against in a fatal shooting. Confusion in the South Rupununi as a mistakenly lands at a school avoiding injuries. Families in Lima are left scrambling after a freak storm destroys homes, calling for urgent rebuilding aid. And in sport, new talents unearthed at National B Division Volleyball tournament and stage set for Republic Bank 5 for Fun finale as county champions crowned. With the news, I am Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for joining us. We start off by telling you that a 25-year-old laborer was left dead at the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation after being stabbed by his reputed wife during an argument on Wednesday evening, and the woman has since gone into hiding. Let's find out more in this report.
I'm standing here outside of a Beefield Sophia Georgetown apartment, which was occupied by the now dead 25-year-old Akeem Evans. Evan is the man who was allegedly stabbed to death by his reputed wife just after 18 hours on Wednesday afternoon. The incident reportedly occurred right here in this apartment behind me. Police headquarters reported that investigations revealed that the couple, who has been living together for just over 2 years, had a heated argument during which the woman allegedly armed herself with a sharp object and stabbed Evans. Evans was rushed to the Georgetown Public Hospital by public-spirited persons. There, he died while receiving medical attention. But what is interesting is that Evans was taken to the hospital accompanied by the woman who allegedly stabbed him. After being at the hospital for just about a few minutes, the woman allegedly fled the scene. She is yet to be located. The newsroom on Thursday morning visited Evans' house, where we spoke to his sister, Melissa Stewart. Stewart explained that the couple had initially lived in the upper flat of this house with Evans' mother and other relatives. However, due to frequent arguments, Stewart explained that the couple were advised to have their own apartment. But even after this, Stewart told the newsroom that arguments continued and they were frequent.
She had no way to go. She was staying in this back room, but she habits and she way, and so my mother and my stepfather couldn't deal with she. Alright? So he had to do a thing downstairs and he cried she downstairs. This thing coming from don't want doing work. She don't want to work. All day she lie down. You understand? If you tell she wash little wares, it's a big cussing. My mother's the big holler punch because it started from since 6 in the morning cussing. And then nice, mommy's holler punch she, mommy's get up and put on she gospel. Mommy's holler punch she for cussing up. If why gotta wash effing wares for? Me gotta wash no effing wares. Sometimes the wares there till it got warm. Everybody, nobody in this yard don't talk. I's the only one and she's talk. Nobody else don't talk to she no. Me alone is I tell a man is a woman. I been through certain thing. I live by people place and I know it go. But I talk to she say, girl, go and leave this by. Girl, go and leave this by. Girl, go. She wouldn't go and leave feet. Now everybody's saying it's domestic abuse. It's not no domestic abuse. She say a big brick tree window there. Because all the time when she going along, she will tell you, he don't stop she, you know. You know, man with all and put and tell you don't go, he don't stop. He's going in front there, they got a metal chair, he's going in front, they put it in front, yeah, then he sit down. He's put that bicycle down. So he's put she and she's ride from corner to corner and he does watch she. He don't stop she. So I don't know how they meet into a confrontation. It's a steady thing, it's not no thing they always quarreling When I tell you from 6 in the morning sometime.
After the incident, Stewart said that Evans rushed over to a neighbor and related to her that it was the suspect who stabbed him, and he asked for assistance.
I run back home for put on a dress. When I coming back for one put on my clothes, the girl always live in the house down there. She said, "Is Heaven stab your brother?" I said, "What do you mean is Heaven?" She said, "Yeah, he come out here long, he come out and he said, is Heaven stab and he lean over so." And she said she go inside, she get a jersey for sap. But he ain't look at this room. He did only all in here. So she said, she give it thing and she help you as much. But this is the last thing he said to she mother, she cousin and a girl here, she was coming on the veranda. She said, all of them here when she said, when he said Heaven stabby, when me wait to the hospital is when my little sister called and she said, they call and say he don't dead. I said, girl, don't tell me stupid. He said, "Sign near me the hospital. I gone, I see, I gone, I see." When I meet there, was my cousin and the girl that stabby and she friend. She come and she hold me. My cousin come and she hold me. And she come afterwards and she hold me and she said, Shani says, I say, Heaven is who? Is who? She turned and said, no, is somebody come running from out there. She talking about out there because a lot of bicycles they line me now. So she said, he come running from out there. But normally, he get a white bicycle. He's the up, down, pon it, ask anybody. How the bicycle they park on the bridge and he went walking, go there and then he run and come back in here. So. And then he run and come back in here to you and walk and go out there for go and get a car again. And right out there the 2 days. That's why you ain't try to get a car if you get stabbed out there. And nobody is it. And I say, Evan, how is you? She said, no, it's not me, Shan. It's everybody. She saying it's not she. She jump into the car with her friend and they just pull off and they gone. And I keep calling, she ain't answering. It ringing on WhatsApp, it ringing normal call, but she ain't answering. We want some kind of justice. See, life can't go down just so. Me saying he's no angel, nobody ain't no angel, he's not no angel. Everybody who know he and had problem with he, know that he's not no angel. But we want some kind of justice.
Police headquarters said that as the suspect remains on the run, efforts are being made to locate her. As the investigation's ongoing, Evans' body is currently at the Georgetown Public Hospital mortuary awaiting a post-mortem examination. Reporting for the newsroom from Sophia, Sharda Bacchus.
We tell you now that the Guyana Revenue Authority, the GRA, has withdrawn tax-related charges against prominent businessmen Nazar and Ashruddin Mohamed. The father and son appeared in the Georgetown Magistrates Court on Thursday, but the GRA informed the court it would no longer be pursuing the case. No reason was provided for the sudden withdrawal. The charges stemmed from an audit of Mohamed's enterprise, the family's gold export business, covering tax years 2020 to 2024. The GRA had alleged that Mohamed's underreported income, with tax liabilities totaling over $191 billion, including interest. Nazar Mohamed was accused of understating his gold export taxes by nearly $5 billion, while his son Ashruddin, who was sworn in as an opposition parliamentarian this past Monday, allegedly underreported over $7 billion. This local case is now closed, but both men remain under intense scrutiny internationally. They were sanctioned by the U.S. Treasury in 2024 for alleged corruption and tax evasion and were formally indicted in October 2025 by a U.S. grand jury on charges including conspiracy, fraud, money laundering, and gold smuggling. U.S. authorities claim over 10,000 kilograms of gold were exported without proper taxes, costing Guyana roughly $50 million. Under Article 4 of the extradition treaty, a person cannot be extradited if they have already been tried, punished, or are still on trial for the same offense, and extradition is deferred if they face trial or are serving a sentence for another crime. With the GRA case withdrawn, attention now turns to the ongoing U.S. legal proceedings and the wider examination of Guyana's gold export sector. Now, the third-lane traffic system officially recommenced on Thursday morning along the East Bank and East Coast of Demerara corridors, marking the return of one of the country's most debated rush-hour traffic measures, but this time under full police and stricter controls. The Police Commissioner Clifton Hicking, Traffic Chief Assistant Commissioner Mahindra Singh, and other senior ranks were out early Thursday morning to observe the re-implementation, which aims to ease the congestion during peak hours. The third lane, introduced years ago to facilitate smoother traffic flow during rush hour, was suspended last week following several fatal accidents, including the death of 15-year-old Annandale Secondary School student Navindra Mahes, who was struck on a pedestrian crossing at Success on the east coast of Demerara while the system was in effect. Speaking to the newsroom during Thursday morning's exercise, the traffic chief Singh said that the reinstatement comes after detailed review and analysis led by the Commissioner of Police himself. He emphasized that safety considerations and the evolving road network across Demerara guided the decision.
There had to have been some adjustment to restore normalcy with which traffic should flow in the two lanes on either carriageway. Now, we discontinued the third lane only recently owing to issues of safety. This didn't mean that it would not have been recommenced at a later time, like what you are seeing now. So on the basis of an analysis, and the team that did the analysis was led by no other than the Commissioner of Police himself, the analysis points to a need where again it should continue but under different circumstances. Fully controlled by the police with ranks present at each space. For what? To guarantee safety and to ensure that road users use the road with or in keeping with the laws of the country. Though we see this morning that the commencement is with police on the road, some vehicles owned by the administration and or privately would have overtaken others on the very third lane. So we're going to deal with that as we observe it or it is reported to us. Based on that analysis, the third lane has recommenced on the East Bank and the East Coast. Why? To ensure continued progression. Why? To address the issue of convergence of traffic where great volumes converge during the two peak times, morning and afternoon. So I just want to make it clear that arising out of the visionary leadership, we are witnessing the recommencement. We are witnessing what is being done in the general or to the general benefit of the road using public. It had nothing to do with subjectivity or the personal thoughts of anyone, especially the traffic chief at the time, being me. And I want people to understand that not each time something is discontinued and or stopped, whether temporarily or permanent, it means that there was a lack of vision or consideration, which is why it was in the first place established. It had to have been an issue which must be examined in the context of safety.
Kristoff De Nobrega is now a free man after Justice Gino Prasad on Thursday upheld a no-case submission at the High Court in Georgetown, bringing an end to the murder proceedings against him. De Nobrega, a lance corporal, had been accused of murdering 23-year-old Quindon Bacchus, who was fatally shot on June 10, 2022 at Haslington, New Scheme on the east coast of Demerara. After the case, De Nobrega's attorney, George Thomas, the evidence to support the charge.
All right, so at the close of the case for the prosecution, we would have made a no-case submission, which the judge would have ruled on today. And if we were successful, Mr. De Nobrega is now a free man. We're happy for the result, and we're grateful for everything that has transpired so far. It's only unfortunate that he had to stand trial for such an offense. There was very little evidence to incriminate him in any form or fashion. But it's come to an end.
We tell you now that an aircraft bearing registration number 8RTHR en route to Caraudanau in the South Rupununi region mistakenly landed at a new secondary school site on Thursday morning. During takeoff, the plane partially damaged the newly built school fence. Authorities confirmed no injuries were reported. A resident, Dan Rickson, further explained that the pilot was a Spanish-speaking national and may not have been aware of the area. Rickson stated that the village's airstrip is a short distance away from where the pilot landed.
So apparently the pilot is a Spanish-speaking man, not sure which nationality, but it's his first time coming to this area and he don't know where the airstrip is. And he has a photo and coordinates, but somehow he wasn't able to land on the airstrip. It's not too far from here, and he just got the wrong coordinates maybe, or the wrong place. I'm not sure how everything happened, and he ended up landing on the road. So the road that he landed on, right, is on the new school site that they're now building, the secondary school here in the village, and they recently graded that road. It's a new road graded straight into the compound and to the school site, and probably he saw that from up like an airstrip, I don't know, because it's broad and it's great straight, and That's how he landed there. There was an inspector who came around to check the manifesto from the pilot, right? And when he checked, he said he could have identified the names, one of which was ministry, some ministry official. Like 2 or 3 of them were ministry officials that he could have recognized the names.
Now, several families from Lima, Essecubo Coast are seeking assistance to rebuild their homes following Monday's freak storm. Several homes were destroyed during and while the regional authorities continue to offer support. The residents say they need more help to rebuild sturdy structures. More in this report.
Around 8 a.m. on Monday, a sudden storm swept through the Lima housing scheme on the Essequibo coast, bringing heavy rain, thunder, and strong winds that left 7 families homeless. Himwati Samdat's roof was blown off and she suffered an injury to her head.
What me experience, I mean, tell nobody. If me never persuade a little bit, he might be dead. Because only was me and he was in the house, nobody else. He was sleeping. The house would have carried him away and he would have known.
The residents explained that they are receiving support in the form of groceries and food supplies, as well as some rebuilding efforts.
I like if the president can please help us to get a comfortable house for me and my 10 children, because where we there in the shed is not really comfortable for all of it, because some of it got sleep in the hammock. I'm a son, I got 1-year-old baby and I'm not quarantine, so I'm really not comfortable.
The regional administration has pledged full support to the affected families.
Still to come, President Irfan Ali pledges cash grants for households and vulnerable groups, and Housing Minister Colin Crowell warns corruption in the housing sector won't be tolerated. Stay tuned. Welcome back. This is the newsroom. The United Nations climate talks this year, COP30, got underway in Belém, Brazil on Thursday, with Guyana's President Irfaan Ali urging fellow world leaders to turn their grand speeches into meaningful actions, as his country has already done, as he questioned why extreme views and empty talks hinder critical climate action. The president highlighted solutions already presented by Guyana and regional partners, Brazil and Barbados.
We must act on forests. Yes, we must act on forests. Forests must be mainstream in this agenda. They absorb around 1/3 of global emissions and remain the most viable and cost-effective opportunity for mitigation by 2030. Forests cannot be an afterthought. It cannot be a negotiated item on the agenda of COP. Forests must be mainstream and part of every single COP. We must not fight for forests to be on any agenda. If we are serious about climate change, forests must find a permanent place on the agenda of climate change. We are at a hopeful moment if we choose to grasp the opportunities before us. People everywhere, and in particular, the people of the developing world, are offering practical, experience-based solutions. If we commit ourselves to shun extremism and instead promote collaboration, if we make our bureaucracies accelerate innovation, not trap it, if we unleash the financing options that are affordable and available, then more than 30 years after you, Belém will be the turning point when the world moves from promises to progress.
Now, Vice President Dr. Byron Jagyo on Thursday announced that Budget 2026 will be presented early and will include funding to deliver on key promises made by the governing People's Progressive Party Civic, including the establishment of a structured legal migration framework to address labor shortages while safeguarding national identity and security. Speaking during his weekly press conference at Freedom House on Robb Street in Georgetown, Jagyo said that the upcoming budget will reflect the government's continued focus on job creation, improved health care and education, community development, and strengthened national security.
So we made it clear that Budget 2026 will come early and it have funding to do the things we promised. The President spoke of, once again, of the orientation of our manifesto, creating more jobs, better paying jobs, ensuring our people are better educated, they're healthier, that we solve community problems, drainage, garbage, security issues that people confront, keeping our country safe at the border, and he even spoke of, given what has happened recently, but even more so, given what we've been discussing over several years, the need for a migration policy. We have already started a few years back putting together the project that is being implemented right now that will register every migrant, but also every other citizen, and we'll have their biometrics. So every person in Guyana will have a card with biometrics, their facial recognition, everything there on it. If you don't have that card, hard to survive in this country. You can't be working because the employers, people who employ you, will face serious penalties when they check their workers and they don't have that card. To open a bank account, you need a card of that nature. To remit money to another country, because some people send money back home, who are here, you'd need that card. So we'll know everyone who is here in Guyana who is non-Guyanese. And we'll have all of their details. And with the cameras that we're putting in, as we said, we're planning for about another 4,000 of those cameras that can recognize people. So once we put in the biometrics there, they can identify anyone, anywhere in the country at any time. So we can keep our country safe. Further, we have to pass laws to determine what rights people are going to have here if they're migrants. We want people to come and work because we need that, like on construction sites where we have shortages, etc. But they can't change the nature of our society. And we've made it clear that we would have to think about people who come here and maybe they can have residency but not voting rights. This would be a debate that we'll have to have maybe in the constitutional reform process, but also at the national level about how much rights we're prepared to accord to people who come here, given that we want to preserve our country for our people too. And and this has happened. It's not anything new. It has happened in places like Qatar and UAE, etc.
Amid announcements of further support for rice farmers and fisher folk, President Irfaan Ali on Wednesday confirmed that cash grants for individuals and various vulnerable groups will be announced before the end of this year.
I'm going to announce before the end of the year a series of measures, not only looking at cash grant, but looking at the total empowerment of every Guyanese. Whether you're someone living with disability, the elderly, children, women, small businesses, farmers, you name it, every category. I'm going to announce a comprehensive slew of measures that would include, of course, cash transfer to families before the end of the year. That will take us not only into the next year, but will take us in our cycle of government in the next 5 years. I intend to do that. But one of the things I want to say now to every Guyanese is that the system, we are digitizing everything, and everything will be done in a systemic way. So I'm urging every Guyanese to open their bank accounts.
Minister of Housing Colin Crowell has reiterated that corruption within the housing sector will not be tolerated as the ministry intensifies efforts with law enforcement to root out fraud and hold offenders accountable. Speaking recently on the Starting Point program, Crowell revealed that the Housing Ministry and the Central Housing and Planning Authority are working hand in hand with the Guyana Police Force to investigate a growing number of corruption-related complaints.
We've been working very closely with the Guyana Police Force, and we also have an arm within the Central Housing and Planning Authority for investigative work to be done in this regard. We do have complaints sometimes, and this is investigated where it can move onwards. One of our challenges has always been for you to have successful persons to be successfully charged, you have to have statements. And so, yes, somebody files a complaint to say, I've been duped, but then we need a statement and they don't want to go onwards. And this is what we want to encourage persons to do this. We do have cases. We have successful in recent times. We have been successful with cooperating in terms of investigation to have persons prosecuted in court. So certainly this is something we want to ensure does not happen. And every week, there's some complaint of somebody being duped on somewhere. The police has been making some successful, as I said. Even up till last week, I received a complaint by somebody in Region 3 calling persons and indicating that you can be offered a land. And so that sometimes is of concern too, because potentially a person is called a potential person who has awaiting a land and they're thinking that it's a true call. Then we also have bogus letters that have been issued. We have forged letters that you can see the signature, you see the letterhead is not in sync. It keeps repeating itself. I mean, in one case, I saw somebody calling the permanent secretary name to say, those kind of things. You have creative and imaginative means where persons try in corrupt methods. And once any attempt is found, we move it to the next stage. We are taking in all complaints, and even if you have any scenario, please report that. We want to have successful prosecution. We want to eliminate any attempts of anybody who's trying to defraud in any shape or form.
Vendors plying their trade along the roadside and on the Bartica waterfront who were allotted legal spots at various market tarmacs are being encouraged to move on into their designated areas. Others who have not yet to be allocated spaces were encouraged to register to be part of the modernized market system. This effort follows a government campaign to promote road safety, support vendors' livelihoods, and advance infrastructure development. Minister within the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development, Pauline Sukai, on Wednesday met with the Bartica vendors to address their concerns.
Region 3 holds a potential for tourism. And therefore, what is happening now, the creation of a new stelling or wharf, modern, with prongs that will have different areas of serving different areas in terms of mooring, in terms of putting on board facilities and services that will attract not only the residents of Region 3, but the residents of this country and tourists also. And so we as residents, as entrepreneurs, vendors, and everyone else, we have to begin to emerge, to be part of this change. And to be part of the change, we have to stick within the laws and the regulations, because that is what will assist the government to expand and roll out the objectives that we have committed to in this 5 years. And so when it comes to vending now, you will have issues. So vending is one where you will have to make shifting. You'll have to shift. You'll have to make mindset shifts, and you'll have to make shifting into facilities that will align itself with a modern Guyana and with a Guyana that has aesthetics to draw people to our country, so that you will have more people coming to you for your service. And so some people who are vending on the side of the river or the river banks and so on, they will have to make some shifts. And I'm very pleased this morning when I met with the head of the market committee and chairman of this region that there are already actions that were taken to try to normalize that shift. And so he's advised that the vending on the roadside have mostly, if not agreed and approved, and have found an allocation within the on the tarmac. And I must say, for those who have begun to put up their stall, that is what we need. You need to action your own opportunities. But across Guyana, I want to restate, across Guyana there's a directive for all vending to fall in place in a regulated way. And so they are working, coming closer to Bartica already. So you still have a chance to expeditiously make that shift for those who are allocated. I understand also that the riverside vending, or those on the public works and the sea defense, that they too, some of them have been awarded allocation, identified to be awarded. And I want to implore upon those, if you're here, to take the opportunity to shift, because when the challenge gets closer to you, it may become expensive for you to do so.
When the newsroom returns, your financial weather and bridge report along with sport. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Newsroom. Now for a look at what's happening in sport. We're starting off with some volleyball news. President of the Guyana Volleyball Federation, John Flores, said he was pleased to witness the proliferation of new talents in the just concluded nationwide Republic Bank 1 Guyana B Division Volleyball Tournament. With the exception of Region 8, games were played in the other 9 regions with over 1,000 players of all ages, representing a total of 78 clubs and teams. That allowed the Federation to make a good assessment of the skills level of players across the country. Following the various regional playoffs in the male and female categories, the top teams journeyed to Georgetown last weekend for the preliminary games and finals of the national playoffs. 12 male teams and 10 female teams qualified for the national playoffs. Classic Ball Blasters, seen here in the red top, defeated Central Rupununi in the female final to take the title, while in the male segment, Port Morant Training Center, seen here in black and yellow, won the championship by defeating Bartica Warriors. President of the Guyana Volleyball Federation, Captain John Flores, reflecting on the months of rivalry, had positive things to say about the tournament and the new talents that have come forth.
The tournament is a B Division tournament, but for some of these teams, this is the first time they're playing. Such teams as Wakapau, we had players from Porima who joined with Mbaimadai. So we had a good mix of new talent with some older players. This year we had a whole lot of younger players playing, which is good for the country and good for volleyball. So I'm pleased that we have a lot of new players into the game, especially the female players, I must say.
One of the significant gains of having the tournament played in almost every region was the data generated on players and their skill level, information that would no doubt be incorporated into the development pathway of the sport. Critically, support from title sponsor Republic Bank and backing from the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport, and by extension the Government of Guyana, is of utmost importance in the execution of such an expansive endeavor.
It's a very expensive venture we're getting into, to move around the teams, to move them around the country. It's very expensive, and even for us, because we move around the country to try to organize tournaments in all of these villages. But I know they themselves go to a lot of expense, such as the Rupununi area is a big area. And I was there with their tournament, and they had teams from way down south, up north, Anai and all of those places. So I know that they themselves put themselves in a lot of expense to have these tournaments. They're just playing it for the love of volleyball, I would think. So I feel good when I move around the country and see volleyball being played all over the country. And I think we need to build on that. If we could get the support of government to assist the federation and try to get some of the infrastructure in the areas, it would be an excellent idea to get the game to be developed, because people like volleyball. Family, communities like to play volleyball. So I'm really glad that we're having this to show the public that we have skills all over the country. We just need now to build on it.
Next up for the Guyana Volleyball Federation is a First Division tournament featuring teams from Guyana, Suriname and French Guyana. The International Invitational event will be hosted in Guyana on the weekend of November 22nd and 23rd. Reporting for Newsroom, I'm Avinash Ramzan. Cricket news now. Despite a late onslaught, West Indies suffered a narrow 3-run loss to New Zealand in the second T20 International in Auckland on Thursday. Chasing 208, West Indies slipped on 93 for 6 in the 13th over, but recovered brilliantly to stay in the game. Rothman Powell blasted 6 sixes in 45 of 16, and Romario Shepherd slammed 4 maximums in 34 of 16, but West Indies fell agonizingly short as the hosts leveled the 5-match series 1-1. Spin pair Mitch Santner and Ish Sodhi took 3 wickets each for the Black Caps, who earlier romped to 207 for 5, thanks largely to a boundary-laden 78 of 28 balls from Mark Chapman. The left-hander cracked opener Tim Robinson made 39 of 25 and Darrell Mitchell 28 of 14. Bowling for West Indies, Roston Chase took 2 for 33. Games 3 and 4 are slated for this weekend, with the final match on November 12th, all starting at 20 hours 15 Guyana time. And the all-rounder Romario Shepherd said losing the close games can hurt, as he reflected on West Indies' narrow 3-run loss to New Zealand in the second T20 International in Auckland on Thursday. Chasing 208, West Indies needed 91 of the last 30 balls with just 4 wickets in hand, and Shepherd blasted 4 sixes in 34 of 16, and Rovman Powell 6 sixes in 45 of 16, but the Black Caps won to level the 5-match series 1-all.
Yeah, sometimes the close game can hurt you because you can look at so many areas where you could have pulled back a 6 runs or so much area where you could have actually bowled a better over or something like that, or play a better shot off a certain ball. But all in all, what it is what it's supposed to be. So hopefully next game we can pull off a win.
But you're off to a new venue now. It's been 2 very hard-fought, tight matches so far. This looks like it should continue to be an exciting series.
Yeah, because we all know how good the wickets are in New Zealand, and there's small boundaries and stuff like that. So you have to actually be on the ball each and every ball you bowl and each and every ball you bat, because 200 is not enough anymore in T20 cricket these days. So new venue, new challenge. So hopefully we can actually start well in that venue like we started well on last night here. I just think the wicket is one that you have to give yourself time. If you check, most of the batters that actually score runs are guys that actually give themselves that little time to actually assess the condition and stuff like that, because it's not a wicket where you can just go out and hit from ball one, because it's kind of tennis bounce, some gripping, some skidding, so you have to get used to the pace on the wicket. So it's sure that even last night when Santner get off, he was actually there to actually capitalize on the start that he actually got. And tonight again, Rovman, the way he played, myself and stuff like that. So it's sure that once you give yourself a chance on the wicket, well, here at this venue, you can actually go big.
Now, young all-rounder Zainul Ramsamy will miss the upcoming CG United Super 50 Cup after picking up a thumb injury while playing in the Berbice Cricket Board's First Division 2-day competition last weekend. His spot in the Guyana Harpy Eagles squad for the November 19th to 29th tournament in Trinidad and Tobago is now taken by the experienced left-arm spinner Anthony Adams, the Guyana Cricket Board announced on Wednesday night. Leg-spinning all-rounder Ramsamy, aged 21, was bowling for Tugbo Park against Albion in the 2-day semi-final when he sustained the injury to his right thumb, attempting to take a return catch. He will be out of action for at least 2 months. Ramsamy was among 6 newcomers to the senior regional 50-over cricket, named in the original Harpy Eagles squad, the others being hard-hitting 16-year-old wicketkeeper batsman Shomar Apple, promising top-order batsmen Mavindra Dindyal and Raymond Perez, fast-bowling all-rounder Thaddeus Lovell, and fast bowler Silas Tyndall. Adams, aged 32, is yet to make his Super 50 debut for Guyana. The 14-member squad reads Machu Nandu captain, Raymond Perez, Kevlin Anderson, Mavindra Dindyal, Kemal Savory, Richie Loknaut, Anthony Adams, Ronaldo Ali Mohamed, Gudakesh Moti, Thaddeus Lovell, Silas Tyndall, Kimo Paul, Junior Sinclair, and Shomar Apple. And now that the county champions are known, the countrywide Republic Bank 5 for Fun will conclude on November 15th with a grand national festival at the Georgetown Cricket Club border, where the national champions will be crowned. Still alive in the 3rd annual Kiddies tournament are Essequibo champions St. Lawrence Primary of the East Bank Essequibo zone, Berbice winners Messiah Primary of the Upper Quarantine zone, and Demerara champions Supply Primary of the East Bank Demerara zone. National Coordinator for the 5 for Fun in Guyana, Rayon King, Marketing Specialist of Republic Bank Guyana, Stacey Alexander, and Nicholas Fraser of the Allied Arts Unit of the Ministry of Education spoke to Newsroom recently about the importance of the event in shaping the future of the sport, not just in Guyana, but across the region. The 5 for Fun concept promotes the engagement of 75 primary schools in Guyana, impacting over 1,500 boys and girls, and is supported by Cricket West Indies, the Guyana Cricket Board, the Ministry of Education, and the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport.
The Republic Bank 5 for Fun program is a very important program in Guyana and the West Indies, where it is the entry level of organized cricket or competitive cricket for both boys and girls in the primary schools. Now in Guyana here, we also roll out this. This also feeds the under 13 program, and then the under 15, the under 17, under 19 programs, and then ultimately to senior West Indies women and men's teams. as I said, is a very important step in any young boy or girl career that pursues cricket. So it's very important initiative by Republic Bank in collaboration with CWI, that's Cricket West Indies, and the Guyana Cricket Board, and also here in Guyana with the Ministry of Education and also the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport.
It's quite warming to see the young folks here, how they experience the teamwork. You see a lot of leadership, you see a lot of commitment, and those are very good building blocks for these individuals as they mature. Under the Republic Bank Power to Make a Difference, the Fight for Fun has been indeed development of our youth in the arena of the cricketing world. It is indeed a pleasure to partner with Cricket West Indies, the Cricket Board, and the Ministry of Education. Republic Bank congratulates all the persons that would have taken part, that would have come out here to make a difference, to pour into the youth of Guyana, and to, of course, maintain cricket in Guyana and develop the sport as we know it.
We are happy to partner both with the Guyana Cricket Board as well as Republic Bank for this. We would like to see this obviously grow further as it plays an important role in the development of cricket in schools. As you know, the Ministry of Education is very, very much pushing physical activity and physical education in schools, and this will augur well, and it will form part of what we are trying to achieve as it relates to both academic as well as health-related benefits of these activities. So moving forward, we would obviously like to see more school teachers being trained and having to know the rules of the game, being able to teach certain techniques so that when time comes for the competition, the kids are ready and rearing to show off the best skills that they can.
And with that, we've come to the end of the news for this evening. Of course, you can find updates on these and other stories on our website, newsroom.gy, and all social media platforms. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Afanash Ramzan. Thanks for watching. Be safe. See you next time.